AI is going to write malware that's going to destroy everything and take over the world. You got to watch your back.
Yeah, right. That's what they tell us anyway.
Reality is that AI is not at that point.
But right now, we've got the keys to the hottest AI-powered phishing tool.
Tell them about the samples.
We've got output samples,
Tell them about the API.
API access,
Tell them about the chatter.
and chatter from some of today's most notorious phishing operators.
This is the state of the art of cybercrime.
Behind the surface, follow the chain from initial access to lasting pain.
Welcome to Behind the Surface. Here, we deep dive into the real tactics and techniques driving today's cyber attacks. Every episode breaks down what threat actors are currently doing, translating their underground methods into clear, analyst-friendly insights. This channel is built to give you the visibility and vocabulary you might not find in glossy reports, the tools, tricks, and ecosystems powering cybercrime. This is a tool that integrates and scales. It integrates with the attacker's scripts by API, and it integrates with infrastructure that sends out massive numbers of phishing emails. And it integrates with OpenAI's model on the back end to provide the AI generation. Today, we're looking at a real-world AI-powered phishing tool used by real-world threat actors to send out 5,000 emails per minute through 40,000 residential proxies. To understand where we're at, let's take a look at where we came from. A few years ago, I was tracking a Royal Ransomware affiliate developing a phishing campaign. They had this tool that was basically a GUI where you selected non-critical words and they would be randomly swapped out with different options. Now, I didn't know it yet, but this was a pretty well-known thing actually called Spintax.
See those curly brackets and vertical bars? That's the Spintax syntax. The computer sees that and says, okay, I've got options.
It's an old black hat SEO trick. You need to come up with 100 different web pages about a topic. No AI yet. What do?
Can't write them all yourself.
You use Spintax, so your words are randomly swapped.
One email goes out saying, hello from support, and the next one says, greens from the team.
In a way that doesn't really sound right to a human.
It's basically Mad Libs for hackers.
To the search engines of the time, they couldn't tell it was word salad. It was close enough and different enough that it looked like you had 100 pages of content on your site about this topic. Must be a great site.
Exactly.
So the phishing operators adopted that, and other spammers adopted that. So they weren't sending out 1,000 identical emails. They were sending out 1,000 slightly different emails, and that got past the spam filters.
If a security filter was looking for the exact phrase, hello from support, it would miss the other 99 variations. If it was looking for 99 of the same emails, it would miss it all completely.
Anyone who spent too much time looking at phishing emails and spam emails knows what I'm talking about. Spintax was the low bar.
Back in the day, that was enough.
Today, the bar has risen and the barrier to entry has dropped through the floor. We're tracking a tool called HTMLMix. This isn't just a script, it's a full software as a service platform sold on markets for cryptocurrency. And the reputation is serious. We've seen glowing endorsements from a phishing operator here, active since 2016, who sends up to 500,000 emails a week, as well as running a commission-based service to run phishing jobs with your leads. We've got an operator here, an email filter bypass guru, some people call the traffic doctor, who has risen over the past 13 years to become a moderator of the top-tier hacking forum, XSS. This moderator is telling a new obfuscation developer that they're wasting their time and HTMLMix is already far ahead. And here, we've got an established vendor on multiple underground marketplaces. He's been using HTMLMix for 8 months now to obtain the goods he sells. And then, of course, we've seen plenty of phishing operators who are relatively new or unknown jumping on the bandwagon. So this isn't hype. This is millions of emails going out and compromising accounts. Quick vocab lesson. If you want to go out and conduct threat intelligence, you have to stop thinking like a certification exam for a minute and start listening like a fraudster. The underground has its own dialect and it's huge. But for right now, know this. Forget the word phishing. In the underground, it's spamming. Whether they're selling something or stealing something, it's all just spam. Second, they don't send emails.
They send letters.
It sounds oddly personal, but that's the industry terminology. Third, they don't talk about delivery rates of email.
They talk about inboxing.
If your letter hits the junk folder, it's dead. If it hits the primary folder, you're inboxing. It's important to have a good inboxing rate, and that's what all of this here you're seeing in this episode is all about, that inbox rate. So a security analyst might say, the actor sent phishing emails to harvest credentials.
But the fraudster says, I'm inboxing letters to get spammed bank logs on my scam page.
To demonstrate the tool, why it's dangerous, why we need to defend against it, I'm going to grab a template to use as a demonstration. I'm at a repository owned by LinkSec for training templates for phishing training, and I'm going to grab a Microsoft themed one. Since it's for training, there's various tags applied for the training program, but I'll clean that up, make it look like something we want to use for the demonstration. Load that into the tool and look at the obfuscation techniques. That can be each combined however you want, and then a lot of them inside those techniques themselves, they can be customized in multiple ways. Now, if you do the math on combining dozens of techniques with several of those having multiple customizations inside of them, it may as well be infinite. But we can pick out some of those techniques that sound cool and see if they live up to their claims. We can choose individual parts of the template to obfuscate. We can have it automatically choose for us. We can have it generate Spintax macros. Seems to me like that's going back a bit, but of course it's an option here. AI synonyms, replace words with synonyms of those words automatically. And we can even adjust the creativity there. Table layout, split it into parts of tables. Word inversion, we can right to left, left to right, invert segments of words with a certain probability, wrap letters in tags, add invisible characters, and adjust the settings on that. Convert image to base 64 to embed directly in the email HTML. Pixelize the image, chop it up, make it so OCR can't detect it. Convert the whole template to a base 64 image. Upload images to a host. Convert tags to background images. Trust links. This one's interesting. We can insert random links at the bottom that will be related to keywords. And it will link to Wikipedia. Those keywords sort of add some legitimacy for some of the scanners that look for that. We can add garbage to the end of links to make them unique, add random authentication parameters to links to make them unique. That's just the basics. Advanced, it's a lot of parameters that we can customize in a lot of ways. Tags and styles, over 20 million unique combinations that we can control with probability, with tag names, separate classes, inline styles to classes with settings, probability, rename classes and IDs, randomize the fonts, can randomize tags, add random comments that are invisible, add preview text, so that's the text that a human will see when they are looking in their client. And one of the most recent features, intelligent email chain, so it'll detect the language and other parameters and generate a conversation chain at the bottom of that email using OpenAI's API on the back end. Let's crank up those AI synonyms, hit the button, and see what we get. Exclusive deal, upgrade, enhance my subscription, lift my subscription, dear honorable detective lock, to detective lock, elevate your subscription today, recent Office apps, current Office applications.
Some of it seems a little bit out there.
Some of it's a bit out there, but I guess that's what you get when you hit auto, and why the tool allows operators to adjust the amount of creativity applied to each section of the document. Let's go ahead and check out an AI conversation chain on this template. I don't know why there's a big gap, and the conversation doesn't seem related to the content of the template. It's a pretty complex template. This is actually a known issue. Let's try a simpler template and try to see if we can get a conversation that makes more sense. Classic, simple, overdue invoice. It's your job to fix it. Otherwise, everyone's going to be mad and the world will end.
As far as the obfuscation parameters, each of them is doing what it said it would. And that means it's not terribly exciting to walk through all this HTML on the call. But let's take a look at visually some of the alternatives it's produced through AI. These sentences all make sense. They get the point across. They flow well. I didn't have to spend time developing and testing Spintax, so it's a massive improvement. If the reader knows the sender, though, and knows how to communicate, they might find the word choice unusual. It's not hard to imagine an AI tool in the near future that would grab a writing sample off of, say, LinkedIn and use that as an example of the way the person writes. Of course, even then, people don't necessarily communicate internally in the organization the same way they write to the public. Let's check out the AI conversation chain for this template. What's this big gap again? The conversation this time does actually make sense. These domain names are not really what you'd expect in a business-to-business context, though. And there's actually a bug here. The direction of the conversation is correct for an email chain, but the dates are in the wrong chronological order. This isn't going to fool someone if they're actually taking the time to read through and consider the chain. I can tell you a lot of people reading emails don't sit there and think about if the domain names and chronology make sense, especially after the attacker hits cues like authority and urgency. Right before uploading this episode, it finally occurred to me the intent of the conversation chain might be to be read by the scanner, not by humans. And this is the current state. There are plenty of databases that have data on corporate structure. We've seen attackers scrape LinkedIn. I mean, you could throw a fake employee on there and you'll get a phishing email addressed to first name, last name at your domain. So it's not hard to imagine a tool in the near future that generates email conversations based on that data, including a decent stab at writing styles. So AI attacks are very real and they're happening right now at scale, but they look less like this and a bit more like this. Threat actors have this new AI capability to bypass scanners. So what? How are these phishing operators actually inboxing these letters? It's got an API. It can integrate into whatever workflow they use, whatever workflow they can imagine.
Compromised SMTPs, abusing legit notification systems, compromised corporate email accounts, whatever they can imagine.
There is a tool, though, that HTMLMix partners with. It uses a novel method to abuse well-known domains and send those emails rapidly into inboxes through 40,000 residential proxies. This tool really deserves its own analysis to properly explain the techniques and take a look at it under the hood.
Does it deserve an episode?
We'll be doing that on an upcoming episode. But thank you for watching our episode on the cutting edge of how real threat actors are using real AI in phishing. Great working with you, Locke. Until next time.
Keep following the chain.
Behind the surface, follow the chain from initial access to lasting pain.